Hey guys, So Slow here. Wanted to bring you a World of Tanks replay in the 7 British heavy tank, the Black Prince. So, real quick though, before we get into the replay, I did want to go over just some of the strengths and weaknesses of this tank in the armor, because if you look at it on paper, the armor values of this tank are pretty weak considering it's a tier 7. So there's a certain way that you want to play this tank in order to be effective at it. Um, this thing really benefits from being on city maps versus being in country, which is a huge deal. But I'm going to show you a replay from both, and hopefully that will get a good idea of just how effective and destructive that this tank can be at its tier and a little bit above. So let's go ahead and go over the armor real quick here. Said earlier, the turret armor and hull armor is pretty uniform almost all the way around the tank. The front, your turret armor and hull armor are 152 millimeters. This is over 70-degree angle. This part right here, so you're almost always guaranteed a ricochet if somebody shoots that, but it's very flat, easily penetrated um, surface here. The sides, you're looking at 95 in the hull and 92 top, which is great. 92 armor is pretty good for turret, but again, it's a very flat surface, so people are able to get through. Don't have the benefit of a rounded angle or anything like that. The rear for the hull is abysmal 25, is basically not there. However, the turret is very strong at 95 millimeters, but again, definitely very flat. So you don't have the benefit again that angling rounded turrets that some of the other tanks have, or low profile turrets and stuff like that. So one of the things you'll see me doing quite often, and my tank inspector isn't working right now, otherwise I would show you the heat maps and stuff, is you'll see me running a lot like this, with my gun pointing over one of these two front wheel wells, trying to keep the tank at about this angle when I'm going towards an enemy or getting to places, because when you angle the armor of this tank at roughly your gun pointing right over the top of this guy, you effectively turn this from 152 to almost 200. And this side is just a bounce, because if I'm shooting at him like this, it's either going to eat in the tracks or it's going to bounce because of the 70-degree angle almost every time. And I'll show you some of that here in a bit. So yeah, the top of the tank obviously is an arty magnet with its speed. It's not very fast, and I want to say the top down portion is like 20 or 30 mil of armor, so it's not a lot. This thing does attract quite a bit of artillery fire, so you do want to be careful there. But yeah, so hit points 1450 when it's fully upgraded. Your engine power, obviously top speed 20 millimeters an hour. It does not go fast. It doesn't turn fast. It doesn't do much of anything fast other than fire this decent 7 decent rate of fire gun that'll easily pump out shot after shot after shot. If you keep this gun singing and you're effective in putting it into the weak spots of your enemy tanks, you're going to definitely do some battle or some damage. So let's go ahead and look at some gameplay.
Look out!
So guys, here we are on Northwest. I am platooning with Panem, the gentleman I met earlier in the evening, and I think this was our 4th or 5th game. XVM says we don't have a great chance to win. There's some very good tanks on the enemy team, so we're going to see if we can't effectively use our tanks. I do mention to Panem that I would much rather have a city map, but it doesn't stop me from going ahead and pushing forward, trying to get into a good position tank. So coming around the corner here, normally I would go down where the IS-6, the IS, ahead. I decided to take the middle road. My thought being that I didn't want to come back up that hill that is clear over here at the 8 and 9. But with this tank, it's slow speed and stuff, it could get caught in a bad position. And you know, we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So that's with the artillery. I just didn't want to take the chance of dealing with getting back up that hill. So I've got E26, E4 in front of me. I have Pam and his Black Prince behind me, and we're just gonna come up here and see what trouble we can do. All the while, I am thinking, how am I gonna do? As you notice, I am coming around the corner. I am trying to keep that front corner of my tank pointed towards any enemies. You'll see me swapping back and forth like this often, trying to keep that front corner of the tank, trying to keep the gun down and over that to best maximize my angling of the armor, keeping the tank at its maximum armor effectiveness. So there's a FCM 50T. Go ahead and right click and get a zero in on him. Started doing this right clicking and locking onto targets when in close battles or tanks I know I can penetrate easily. As you can see, I am sticking the corner of my tank at him in case he does decide to fire me, just to keep that angle good and strong. So I move up, spot T29. And our 26 E4 friend is really approaching him. J Panther behind us, and then Panam's also working with the guy. The heavy tanks down south are working on some tanks down there, so I get up here like constantly, always leaving that, trying to get that corner at the enemy tank, trying to get that corner in a place where I can do them. So go ahead and put a shot into the top of his hull. Oh, the T29 has a very good turret. Hull armor, not so much. I also see that I have a very good angle on the T29, so I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at the commander's hatch, and I'm able to get through. Run into Phantom, make sure that the tanks behind us are doing okay. Those guys are taking them. And Phantom's off to the races to see if we can't blow this guy up, so we go after him. Able to knock his tracks off again to keep him getting away. Find the machine gun port, put it through. So we continue on. Our friendly tanks behind us have effectively taken out their entire flank over here. IS-6, the Jag Tiger 88, FCM 50-ton, and a PZ. At this point, we decide to forward. He's watching the left, I got the right, and we're just going to see what we can find. And there's a Centurion. Now, this is a point where Adam and I both kind of realize that we made a mistake after the fact. Notice it here in just a minute. Adam goes up to this guy, full health, and I'm full health. But all of a sudden, wild ISU 152 appears out of the distance. And I am just tunnel visioned on this Centurion. I haven't noticed that that 152 has taken a pretty meaty chunk out of Panem. So I'm not sure what he's reacting to. I'm not really paying attention. I am zeroing in on this Centurion. I want to make this guy dead. But I don't notice that that 152 is pouring fire down. So, boom. That's the first time that I realize that he's there, and I'm like, oh, bugger. That's not good. So I go to engage the 150 because this is the most immediate threat. Now, that was a really lucky bounce on my part because I had a pretty flat surface to him. So I see the 152's come down. I want to get good angle. Come around the corner. Expose the side of my tank a little too much. Try to take him out, put a shot in the dirt, somebody else does the work for me. Good to go. So there's their artillery. There's an AMX 5100. He doesn't see me. I'm gonna try and track him. I want to keep him in place so our guys can finish him off. He's a very tough tank. Now, this is one of those points where I'm gonna show you here. That first shot went right through the gun mantlet. Second shot bounced. Third shot went right through upper part of the turret. But this, he's going to sit there and shoot that mantlet. That's all I'm showing him. All I'm giving him to shoot is the gun mantlet and the turret. And he's unable to go through. And I leave him on 7 hit points. And this is kind of where that angling comes into the factor. I was able to angle. Now, really, I shouldn't have pushed up like I did. I had 3 tanks coming from the right, but I got kind of greedy, I want to say, and thought maybe I could finish off that AMX 5100. So I see the ISU. I'm trying to track him. I end up putting a tracking shot. However, he uses his repair kit. I'm not able to stop him, which ultimately leads to my demise, because here he comes. I'm able to put a shot into him, but he puts a meaty right into my face. 5100 finishes me off. 3,300 damage, but unlucky for him, he doesn't make it all the way around. There, Artie gets in a nice parting shot, and we're able to end the game with a win. Panama and I kind of talked this over a little bit in the chat, where I said, hey, I didn't see him, I'm sorry about that, and like, man, I need to work on map awareness. And I think that was true for both of us, being aware of that map and seeing that ISU pop on. I was so tunnel visioned on the Centurion, I didn't see the threat after that first shot, and Panam really paid the price for that, because I possibly could have gone over there, taken a hit for him, and kept him in the game, and maybe we could have effectively kept each other alive and finished the game out with 1 or 2 more kills apiece. But it is what it is. So let's go ahead and take a look at the post-game stats. So guys, this is the results of that battle. I walked away with an Ace Mastery Badge, 3,300 damage, 4,000 XP and a ×2, 2 kills, 641 assistance damage, which is just outstanding. This was a really great battle. I enjoyed this. Even being on an open map, I was still able to effectively use my armor and bounce a lot of shots. So you can see that I had 1,354 base experience, which is just awesome. The game was amazing. I was so excited about it. Did 3,302 damage, as I said earlier. Got the 2 kills. A great kill, 1,810 damage blocked by armor. Shot 31 times, penetrated 27 out of 28 hits. And again, just that base XP. It's just insane. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is angling your armor, you can do amazing things even against tier 7, 8, and 9 tanks in this Black Prince. It's a phenomenal tank, especially if you can get in a town, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So for the second match, we are on Ruinburg on Fire, and we have a very nice matchup. 4 heavy tanks, however, 2 of their heavy tanks are low tier. One of ours is, we have an ARL, which is tier 6, and then Panam and I. And we are in Ruinburg, which is the city map. Obviously, you know, anything I consider less than 60 or more than 40 is pretty much a 50% chance to win. Those are your best either. So, Panam and I head straight into the city. We're gonna see if we can't make ourselves known. Panam decides that he's gonna head around the outside. Lets me know that, and so I'm like, all right, he's gonna head off what he can find on the outside, and we'll pinch him in the middle. But I am kind of concerned with this map, being that there are 3 artillery, and Shoreline Town has a lot of activity with all 4 of their mediums up there. However, our artillery starts making short work of them, which is kind of nice. So I go ahead and head down here. Hellcat's on the corner. And our ARL is already in a position to watch that center road farther down. Now I am watching the road back over that way just to make sure that nobody's coming. You notice that the ARL has spotted some folks. Gonna bring that armor and get a good bounce. So, like I said before, pointing that gun right over the front mural, I take out the Jackson. He popped right up and I took him out. A Good shot and just finished him off. And that angle armored at the KV-1. Misses. The artillery hits the ARL. Got another KV-1. Happens to bounce our outside. Bounces there. Go ahead and take a shot at him, being that he is a ways away. Our artillery is able to effectively knock him out or knock out his tracks and take some damage, and I just finish him off. FV shooting at us. See, there's a T-25. Did get us on the side. Now here, notice how I am angling that armor. Just keeping, as I drive towards him, I'm moving back and forth trying to keep my gun over the front to help minimize, trying to watch the angle of his gun versus my tracks in order to get him to track. Obviously I found some of their artillery. I want to try and get some cover from them. The Hummel is able to put one into me. However, I am able to take him out. I remember seeing this other artillery over here. I already know the shot's coming. Lands it right on the front. Takes out the track, does some damage. However, I do end up getting my revenge. Now, Phantom is coming up around behind, and this T-25 gonna cause me some great problems. So I was going for the KV-1. But I notice, or I recognize the T-25 is probably the bigger threat at the moment. So I back off. Figure I don't want to try and fight two tanks on one flank. I see that Phantom's coming around. You try and give me some assistance, so I just see if I can't whittle this T-25 down. Just keep him busy, keep firing at him, and let Phantom take care of that KV-1 if possible. Now again, I'm angling that armor. I'm making it very, very tough for this guy to penetrate me, even though he does have a good gun. Firing at my hull, bouncing shots, because I have that nice angle, effective armor. I'm keeping an eye on the battle going over here. Looks like the T-25 has gone away for a little bit. I try and get around. Looking to put a shot in him. Oh, and I bounce. Phantom scores us brothers in arms. If only. If I continue to move forward, continue to fire, I got 102 hit points left. Gonna go try and get this guy and finish him off. One thing I didn't notice was that their A43. Oh, there he is. Denied the brothers in arms by the A43. Now we're gonna watch Phantom take out these guys. So he's in trouble. He's got problems. T-25/2 on one side, A43 behind him. T-20 was taken out. It's not looking good. Two tanks can easily, the A43 already has a top gun. These two tanks can easily whittle down a Black Prince all by himself. Adam's trying to do the best that he can. Guys at bay. Gets around the corner, puts a shot in. Starts pushing this A43, realizing he's probably the softer target, the smaller gun, the easier to pen. He's able to track him. Trying to use the tanks behind him as cover from the A43 to force him out, or from the T-25 to force him out of his hiding spot so he can fire at him more. And this is where I believe the A43 makes the big mistake. He moves around to try and get Phantom to try and get his rear. And by doing that, puts himself and the T-25-2 in front of Phantom. Phantom is then able to pin him against the building after finishing off the T-25 too, because he was out in the open because he had to come around to shoot around that tank. Pan was able to pin him against the building, kill him, and win the game. And it was just a phenomenal match. It was so exciting to watch and be a part of. And I tell you what, I really enjoyed playing with Pan. We had just, I mean, for this, I want to say was our 5th battle together. No comms, just typing through the chat, and we were able to effectively, I mean, we'll look at the post-game stats, and I'll show you how nice it was. So guys, a bit of a heartbreaker in that we're unable to secure that brothers in arms with 5 kills apiece, but still a phenomenal game. Just showing the strength and versatility of this tank, especially in town, and how much punishment it can take. And yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of delve through these numbers a little bit. So we did 2,346 damage. We killed 5 different tanks, a third of the enemy team. Kind of took out the other third, and then the third was taken out by the rest of the team. I was able to walk out with a mastery badge, first class. Also a master gunner. Did 310 assistance damage, which I'm thinking came on when I tracked that IS, and then also spotting the. Oh no, it's all spotting damage. Looking at our team score, Panam and I both took the top 2 spots in both experience and damage. Obviously, we had the top in kills. Being that Panam lived, he got the Steel Wall Award because I died. Look at the shots here, 23 shots. I landed it, 21 of 21, 18 actually went in. 1,346 damage. Blocked 2,650 damage with our armor. It's just that effective angling, guys. I cannot stress enough making sure that you're angling the armor in this tank. If you're going straight on at a guy, they're gonna just punch right through your flat surface every single time. Make sure you get that gun over that nose wheel on each side as you're coming around, as you're going at them. Just that back and forth, changing in between shots. You're turning left, you're getting the gun over that wheel. You're turning right, you're getting the gun over that wheel. Get the gun, get that tank angled. And with as long as the tank is, as long as the gun is, it's easy. Especially if you're not zoomed in, it's easy to keep that good angle pointed at your enemy tank as you're driving at him. The tank is slow enough that you can actually effectively aim while going full speed. So, as I said, 23 of 18, the amazing amount of armor that this tank was able to do. This was a tier 7 match. It was kind of let's say easier for us, even though in the end it got down to a nail biter. I mean, it really came to the difference of 100 and some odd hit points is what it ended up being. But even from afar, we were able to support each other without having voice comms. It was more difficult, but we were able to pull it out. And I want to thank Panam because it was a great end of the game that he had. And obviously, we couldn't have done it without him. He just played phenomenal. We wanted to play more games the rest of that night and just had an absolute blast. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you enjoyed it, like it below. And hey, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Take care now, and we'll hope to see you out there.